Hello and welcome to episode 13 of our Paint Calm on a Friday. Let me just make sure my sound is up. There we go. So we're on episode 13 and today I've got a little reference picture there. I would just like to thank Pauline. Pauline is the person that I asked if I could use this photo for painting purposes, and she said yes. So I believe this is part of her garden. So there we go. What a lovely garden. So this is our reference picture for today. I am going to be using my Light Wish sketchbook today. The colours that I've pulled out from my Michael Harding main watercolour palette are Sepia, Bright Green Lake, Turner's Yellow, Red Ochre of France, Perylene Green, Moss Green, and Olive Green. I've also pulled out some Neocolor 2s, but you could use Neocolor 1s, it doesn't matter. Chinese Green, Yellow Green, Dark Green, and Van Dyke Brown. So those are the colours that I'm planning to use. Now, as always, please don't feel that you have to use exactly the same colours as me. You can just find a dark brown. You could find quite a bright green, a really dark green, and then a couple of other greens, a yellow, Red Ochre of France, Burnt Sienna would be another choice, but it's a kind of a reddy brown. And then obviously we've got a few of these neo colours there. So as I said, don't feel you have to use exactly the same colours as me. Right, I'm going to pop that over to one side now. Let's leave my neo colours there. My brushes that I've pulled out are all Princeton Snap brushes. I've got a 12, I've got a 6, I've got a 2, and I've got a 0. For some reason I've pulled out 2 6s. Okay, never mind, that's fine. And obviously I've got my water, and I've got a tissue here off to the side. I think it's more important for you to see what's going on here. So I've masked my sketchbook off, ready. Let us begin. So to start off with, I think I am going to get, I'm going to kind of like mark out where my horizon line is slightly. Where's the pencil? Here's pencil. Bit of a blunt one, but it'll do. So it's about like 2/3 up really, and I'm just gonna mark that really lightly. And that's the only bit of drawing really that I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start off by getting in some of that lovely yellow foliage in the background there. So let's begin with that. What colour brush shall I use? Sorry, not colour. We'll start with a size 12. And let's find my empty mixing palette. I'm going to get some of this Turner's Yellow onto my palette. Okay, so I think I'm just going to dot and dab, as they say. And I'm not going to worry about the tree for now. The dark brown will go over this, but we do need to get our light colours in and preserve them. They will not go over the dark colours. And then I'm also going to use some of the Perylene green, the really dark green, to kind of go in between. And this is just something in the back there. And where I can see the gaps from where I've used my yellow, I'm just kind of tapping some of this green in there, just so as we get an idea of this foliage in the background. And then of course we don't want it sat like that, so I'm just going to use a damp brush to get my line in there. So we have that part. Now for this part, we've got quite a bright green going on for the lawn, which kind of goes across. So I'm going to be using my bright green lake. So let's get some bright green lake, and we will get this bright green going on. And I'm not worried when things bleed, and it doesn't matter. As I said, the tree, we'll get the tree in, and it will go over the top of everything else anyway. So that's all fine. So we're just going to get this bright green bit in. And then I think I'm going to go down to maybe the moss green, which is kind of like my middle green, but I've just mixed it with the bright green. And I just need a background here as well. So we have the beginnings of our painting here. You can already see how lovely that yellow pops through, and of course our tree is going to be coming up somewhere here. So we do need to get this to dry so that we can paint over the top. There we go. So you know, hopefully you've had time to dry yours as well. Yep, that's going to be dry enough. Next I'm going to get my tree in. So I'm going to need some of my dark brown. My sepia is what Oh, I was doing so well, and then I went and got my head in the shot. That's fine. Right, let's get our dark brown, our sepia. There we go. And that's kind of coming up from, well, just above halfway, I suppose. And we've got this big trunk. There we go. We've got our big tree trunk in, basically. Shall we put the little, well, I'm guessing it's like a little summer house or something up the back there. Shall we pop that in? Maybe we should. Let's get a smaller brush, a little size 2, and I might use some of the red ochre together with the sepia, just so it's a different brown from the tree. And let's just see, so that's kind of going up into here, isn't it? Yeah, we need our little roof, and then there's obviously something like a windbreaker or something going on there. And of course some of this is going to get covered over with those lovely flowers, those great big, I don't know what they are, they look like daisies of some kind, I'm guessing. Right, in order to do the white of that little summer house structure, I'm going to get out my bleed proof white so I can get that in there. We need to leave a gap. Like so. And then it's really quite dark. Let's go back to our really dark perylene green, even though it isn't that, but that will do the trick for us, I think. And we can always darken that up later, just so we've got this little structure showing. And we can always have flowers and things going up, you know, so that we don't need to make it too perfect, as long as it gives the impression of the little summer house there. Right, so now let's have a go at doing, well, actually, no, we're going to need to dry our tree first, aren't we? Let's dry our tree first. All right. Now, if we squint our eyes, the flowers at the front have got quite a lot of dark bits behind them, and the bottom right hand corner is particularly dark, and so is the bit at the bottom of the tree on the right. So I am going to darken up with my Perylene Green. I'm going to darken up some, so I'm going to get some darker patches in here. And maybe a bit there, and a bit there. So I want these darks, these real darks in. And we can maybe just pop a few more in there, but it's definitely quite dark underneath that tree. And then if I take my olive green, which is quite a dark olivey green, I'm going to get some of that in there. And you're all thinking, Michelle, what are you doing? I expect. But bear with me. And then I'm just going to water some of this down. I'm just getting this shape in again of where all these flowers are going to be. And in actual fact, take a bit of that yellow. Though we've got the bright green there, and it's not as bright green. We've kind of got two patches of bright green. Or shall we leave ours like that and make it a little bit more? No, let's follow the painting picture, sorry. So we've got small bits here that are darker. We'll probably come up a bit more there. Right. Now we've preserved some of those lime greens, but we've got some really dark bits underneath for us to start using some of our neo colours with, but we need to dry. Right, next I'm going to get the flowers in, and then I'm going to do all of the kind of stalks and things coming up, and then we will get a little bit more detail in the back, a bit more detail on our tree. But let's get these white flowers in next. So I'm going to use a size 6. Okay, now we've got a big bunch that are coming up across this tree here, but we want different shapes, so we don't just want circles. So you can, you know, pop some little shapes in. These are definitely spreading out around that tree there. And if you can see, I'm just making shape shapes. They're not really flowers as such. And I'm also just doing some dots and some dashes and all sorts of things here. So don't get too stressed about them. Now we want some that are going across this little summer house here as well, and we've got some that are going up into those bushes or trees in the background there, and then the rest are kind of mostly within this shape here, so we can maybe bunch them a little bit in places. When we get to nearer the front, so this is just going to look rather haphazard at the moment. I'm hoping you're going to stick with me. So yeah, as we get nearer the front, we want some bigger shapes nearer the front to represent our flowers. Trying not to think too hard about this so that I don't you know, end up with things that are too organized, because it's all very random. But that might be okay for a starting point. We can always add some more later. And there we go. There is that, which we're going to need to dry again. Right, now we can get going with our Neo colours. So I'm going to use randomly, kind of, both of the greens to bring some stalks down, and try and, you know, match them up a little bit so that they're the flowers don't look as though they're coming from nowhere, really. And then I will also add in just grasses, as well at another point, so that we just get the grasses in there as well. Let's go back to our darker one as well. Bring the changes a little bit. So I'm not being perfect about this. I'll bring this up in a moment so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm just making it look as if there are some lines that go to these little flowers. Right, so all I've done is a few lines, but I'm then also going to just get some lines on their own going on, trying not to go over my lovely flowers that I've spent ages making. And we can just get these green lines going on. So let me just bring that up and show you. I'm just doing lots and lots of green lines, basically. And I think what I want is a few that go up and around here a bit more. So that we are, and you can just keep going with this until it's kind of filled in and you feel that it looks like you've got enough kind of greenery in the background there. So entirely up to you how much or how little of this you want to do. Just go like that. Okay, you can see I've really kind of filled a lot of that in now. I want to do something with this tree that's not looking. Let's take my Van Dyke Brown one, and look, the light seems to be over there, doesn't it? Which way would we say my light is coming from? Let's do it this way. And I'm just going to get some texture into my tree a bit. So if I bring that up, you can now see I've got some texture in that tree. It's not just a 2D thing. And I'm also going to do the same, this little building. There. I think also I need to make this look as though it's a little bit more 2D, 3D, sorry. So I've just added, might just add some water to that. That building now doesn't look as though it's 2D. It's got a bit more shape to it. Okay. Do we want to do something else in the back here? Let's take our Chinese green and let's get some more of this lovely sunny yellow coming through. Yeah, I think that that kind of helps a bit, getting that through. Now, the other thing that we need to do is get some yellow dots. I'm not sure how this will work, but we'll give it a go. Oh. Well, probably not showing up on my screen too well, but you can see that I am getting those little yellow dots in. So I'm going to pop these little yellow dots in everywhere that I can. Now, some of my flowers are not the right kind of shape, but as long as I get enough of them in, the eye will fill it in for us. So that we've got this pop of yellow in the white, which kind of echoes with our yellow over here in the background. I think that's really brought these flowers to life, actually. Wow. There you go. Now we've got those lovely flowers there. So, do I want to do any more to that? I think we've got some dark, but maybe we need to go darker in the front here. It's not dark enough. So let's take the size 6 and the Perylene green. And I'm going to try and get some bits that are darker in here because I think it needs it. So I'm just picking out shapes between my lines and my flowers to get this dark shape going on here. Yes. Maybe a little bit over here, not exactly what's in the photo, but it doesn't matter. But we really need some nice darks, and of course darkest darks against the lightest lights. So That's why I'm putting it around some of these flowers here, because then we really get that contrast of light and dark, and it kind of continues up here a little way up towards the tree. So let's get some really dark bits in between there. So that we can see some contrast, and maybe just a little bit over here. Yeah. Let me bring that up a bit higher, just so that you can see. I feel like the little house is looking a bit too much plonked there. Plonked there. So I think what I'm going to do is get some of this brighter green, and I'm just going to smudge that in a bit more. Although the brighter green doesn't seem to have worked that well. Maybe we'll go darker then. Just for some bits around here, so that it kind of blends in a bit more. Yes. So there we go. I've just kind of done a little bit of green around there so that it blends in a bit more. Now, I'm not going to do anything else with the background, I don't think, other than maybe some splats, which means that I need to cover up the bits I don't want splat on. And I think we'll take the Perylene green and we'll just get some really darker splats going on in there. And then with a damp brush, I might smudge some of those out. Not all of them. Some of them I think I quite like leaving as like dark patches. But I just felt that we needed some of that to be a bit darker at the back there as well. By doing splats first, it helps us to make things a bit more random. But I'm avoiding going over the bits that have got the nice yellow on them. Let's have a really dark patch maybe coming through there. Yeah. Right, let's try and dry that off then. dry enough, I think. Right, take my clips off because that blue is probably not helping. The blue masking, well, it's actually washi tape. Let's take you off. There we go. Let's mouse not working. Here we go, better. Let's take that away now. And there we go. There's our little picture for today. And yeah, I'd be quite happy to go there, I think. Quite like that. So, hope you have a go. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay calm, and I look forward to seeing you next time, hopefully. Until then, though, thank you very much for watching and supporting me. Bye for now.